Right, so there have been a lot of announcements, there have been a lot of videos, and there have been a lot of decision-making process going in through the filmmaking world at the moment, and that's because the Sony FX5 has been announced. It's been over 5 years that people that Sony has released the Sony FX3, and now there is the FX5, which is not a successor to, but it's a different body on its own, but has almost the same build. So but I'll just state some facts just before we go deep into this video. And if you're wondering what's my position about this camera and all of that, well, I use the Nikon ZR as my gimbal camera, in quotes. That's the camera I put on the gimbal, and if I need to take behind the scene videos or pictures, that's the camera I use. I have other cinema cameras that I use as my A and B cam, so that's my camera that is filming at the moment, and that's the Nikon ZR. So everything I want to say in this video is from that perspective. So let's get into it. So I think what we should focus on as cinematographers is more of creating rather than consuming, and consuming in buying and in watching. So you probably have heard that before, but I'll just state that again. And the other thing is, I think at this point in time, there shouldn't be this anger or this fight going on between creatives, in the sense that I shouldn't be angry if you're not using a Nikon ZR. And you shouldn't be angry as well if I'm using Sony FX5 or Canon C50. I mean, it's just a camera that works for you and for your workflow. And by the way, if Nikon ZR is working for your production, that doesn't mean it will work for me as well, because we are all in different places, in different part of the world, doing different kind of production. So whatever you are using shouldn't be the benchmark or the ideal product for me to use as well. And whatever brand you are loyal to shouldn't be the main brand that I should also look into. So I mean, it's your camera, it's your choice, it's your production company, it's your money, and you can make decision on your own. You can decide to buy by yourself if your wife is happy with it. So enough of all of that. And yeah, so going into this conversation, I'll just state my position about the Sony FX5, and then we talk about the Nikon ZR. So Sony FX5, for me, I think it's a solid camera, and it's almost the perfect mirrorless camera you can buy in 2026. And either you buy it or not, one thing I'm certain of is, if you are to buy it, I don't think you have any cause to regret. And if you are deciding not to buy it and you are going with maybe the Sony FX3 or something else, I mean, there are other options in the market. I don't think you will regret as well. Well, it depends on what you film and what kind of work you do every now and then. But if you have the cash, you have the budget, and you want to get the Sony FX5, and like I said, your wife is happy with you buying it, or your husband if it's the other way, well, buy it and have fun creating something you like. So that's that about the FX5. It's a solid camera, like I said. The specs are like solid spec. The only thing I would say the camera doesn't have is internal ND, and I mean, with that size, you know that that's not coming with it. But for everything else, I think you don't need, I mean, 5K is enough. Most of what we do is 4K, and you don't need 5K, you don't need 6K, you don't need 8K. But if you have it, it's fine. If you don't, it's fine as well. So open gate, everyone has been asking for that. Good readout speed, solid build, good screen, top handle, and all of that. That's beautiful. But where am I coming in terms of the Nikon ZR? I mean, it's a camera I adore and I enjoy using, and that might be the opposite of your own relationship with the Nikon ZR. But I'll just state some things that I kind of prefer the Nikon ZR for. And the first thing that is important to me is the size and the price. And I'm coming from the point of having cinema cameras as my main camera, and the Nikon ZR is serving basically just the camera that goes on my gimbal if I need to do B-roll shots, and if I'm going, maybe I'm traveling and I want a camera that can fulfill basic needs and can do the job well, then the Nikon ZR is the camera that I'll probably pick. So that's the most important thing for me with this camera. The size is portable, is almost too small, and the price is, I don't know, for what you can get out of this camera. I don't think there is any other camera in the market at this time that has that kind of quality for the price. And if you have alternatives or other options, that's fine as well. But for me, I think this is the best budget camera in the market for what you get out of it. And moving on to the other thing I like about this camera, which I'll probably still pick over the Sony FX5, is the screen size. I mean, the FX5 has that bigger screen compared to what you have on FX3 and the other mirrorless cameras. But the Nikon ZR has a more bigger screen, and I just like that because when I was working with the Sony A7S3, the screen is just small, and then you have all the details of what you are filming on the screen as well, and it's competing with your image. It just kind of shrink your image into one corner, and you don't have as much room to see what you're filming. And if you're filming outside, it's a lot of struggle. But the FX5 kind of fixed that. But the Nikon ZR has more real estate in terms of the size of the screen. So I'm filming myself and I can see myself as if I'm in focus or not, if the focus is tracking or not. So it's solid, it's good, and I enjoyed that. The other thing I like about this camera is the image quality, which should have been my first option. But in 2026, I think most cameras that has been released in the past 5 years, 6 years. I mean, FX3 is still a solid camera and it's been talked about every now and then, and it's been reliable. So the quality you can get from the Nikon ZR, and I'm talking more specifically about the RAW, the Red RAW, and the Nikon RAW, which is the N RAW. So the quality of the RAWs you get out of this camera, and for the price, like I said earlier, is just too good to be true. But I film on Red cameras as my main cinema camera, so having that Red RAW, even though it's 12 bits, I don't really care. It's more than enough. I mean, it's way better than 10 bits that you get from mirrorless cameras. And having that option to pair along your main cinema camera, the Red cameras, is very solid. So the Red RAW is amazing and I love it. The other thing which is quite important to me, and one of the reasons why I bought the Nikon ZR, is the ability to take photos, which you are missing on this Sony FX5. But I mean, if you're buying a camera for filmmaking at almost 5,000, you're probably buying it for video function or photography. But having it on your camera, it's a good option because you never can tell whenever you need it. And for me, it's not that I want to take photos, it's just the fact that I'm on set sometimes. I just need to take behind the scenes stills with my camera, which is the Nikon ZR. So it's a good function to have. If I'm buying the FX6, I'll be missing that. But I mean, if you're buying the FX6 and you have other P cam or C cam that has the ability to take photos, then there is nothing much you are missing. So the other thing I love about this camera that probably will make me pick this over this Sony FX5 again is the fact that you have 32-bit float audio internal recording, and you don't have to get extra accessories for like top handle to get 32-bit float audio recording like you have on the Sony FX5. On the flip side, I like that Sony FX5 you can have that top handle, and it has the XLR channels and all of that, and you can have more room to play with your audio settings and all of that from that top handle, which is nice because if you want to use a boom mic or an XLR powered mic on the Nikon ZR, you have to start thinking of conversions and all of that. Like at the moment, I'm recording on the Holyland LAC M2 microphone, so it's 3.5, so I don't have the need for XLR. But if I want to use XLR, I need to get the converter that convert from XLR to 3.5 jack. So that's one thing to deal with. But the other thing is, if you are rigging the camera up and you need top handle, you also have to buy a top handle to work with the Nikon ZR. Unlike the Sony FX5, if you buy the top handle with it, you have the top handle and you have the audio. The other flip side of that is if you are working on the gimbal and you don't need the top handle, you have to take off the top handle and you lose having the 32-bit float audio, which is on the top handle. But on the Nikon ZR, you have that inbuilt, so whatever mic you have on is recording in 32-bit float. So that's probably it. There's not much to say about this camera, and the battery is solid. I mean, I go with 2 batteries a day, and it's most likely enough for everything I need to do. And yeah, the downside for me with the Nikon ZR is the file size, and I know most people have been talking about that. Unlike the Sony FX5 with the RAW and all of that, you can get way more recorded in 1TB card than you get on the Nikon ZR. And for me, what I've been doing with Nikon ZR is I've been filming on 4K hard 3D, and that's giving me roughly 3 hours plus on 1TB card, which is still a lot, but that's what we're dealing with. Hoping Nikon will release an update soon. Yeah, so that's it for this video. It's more my position as an owner of Nikon ZR, and with the announcement of the Sony FX5. It's a solid camera, like I said, and if I don't have a Nikon ZR, or if I'm just buying a mirrorless camera to work with, I'm tempted to say, oh, I'll pick the Sony FX5. But if you consider the money and what you get for it, and like I said, I have cinema cameras that are my A cam and B cam, and this is mainly going to be my gimbal camera, so to say. So in your case, it might be entirely different. Sony FX5 might be your A cam. I mean, if I'm getting an A cam for my production, I can probably pick that as my A cam, or the Sony FX6. So whatever fits your production, whatever fits your workflow, and whatever you're happy with, and whatever you can afford, is what I would recommend you go for. But for me, the Nikon ZR is still a solid camera, and you can see from all the images I've been showing so far, it's an amazing camera, and you get a lot more from 2000 whatever you pay for it. So that's about it. And by way of introduction, my name is Samuel. I'm an aspiring cinematographer based here in the north of England, and I talk a lot about my productions, my process, my kits, and basically filmmaking in general. So if that's something you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will definitely see you in the next video. Bye.